This episode is proudly sponsored by Martha Mock and Super Confident Coaching, superconfidentcoaching.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Wisdom Wednesday, where we have different speakers from different fields to share their passion, to share their work, and to inspire us as women over 40. Today, I wanted to give you something different, something that I've been scared to do, but I have heard so much good benefit about it. What am I talking about? Yoga. Today, I have Elena, a yoga and meditation instructor, being my guest today and to share with us a few things that we may not know about yoga. So, Elena, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thank you, Martha. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me.
It's lovely to have you. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
My name is Elena Chovancak. I am a yoga instructor and a founder of my business, Off the Mat Living. So my background actually is coming from a completely different corporate, 20 years in logistics environment. And I always say that I think I realized firsthand the benefits of yoga and mindfulness for myself, as as I was a busy professional mom trying to juggle it all. And I came to yoga as maybe just in my early 20s, or maybe even slightly before that. And overall, throughout all of my life, yoga was always there supporting me. And I've always had that dream of pursuing that and sharing the gift because I regard it as a gift for myself, and I always wanted to share it with others. So after a while, I became a teacher, and I was combining both corporate and teaching, and then made the decision to really put all the energy in there, so I can truly maybe be true to myself in terms of my own practice and share it with more people. And this is how Off the Mat Living was born. So the name of my business, Off the Mat Living, essentially stands for taking the benefits of yoga off the mat into your daily life and applying those practices. Yeah.
That sounds just amazing, because to me, I always think that yoga, it must be all those movies making yoga look so hard. It's like that you need to be a gymnastic person to even do yoga. So is yoga hard to do?
I wouldn't say so. So, I think, yes, I understand what you mean, because all the pictures of poses, putting yourself in a pretzel, this is not what yoga genuinely is about. I guess the origins of yoga come from India, and initially the physical practice. So the overall spiritual and mental practice had started way before the physical part of it. And the word yoga means yoke, uniting. So we unite body and the mind together through the breathing. Now, but I understand how the physical part became this really intense poses. It actually, the fun fact is that back in many thousand years ago, yoga was essentially practiced more by men rather than the women. So the traditional yoga poses somewhat had been designed for quite young boys or male adults. And some of those things are not necessarily safely can be practiced by women in some ways. But the yoga has been developed so much since then. And there are so many different practices involved in there. So to say that, in a way, the hardness of yoga for myself had come from more being still and slowing down. And I find that a lot of my students actually say that the practice in slower yoga is harder because it requires for you to kind of put aside that fast pace that we are all living in and really connect to yourself. I find yoga to be, I guess, hardness could be because it's such a vulnerable and personal practice, because it's really ability to be in your body, accept your mind, accept your thoughts. But it's such a valuable practice. I could go on for many hours, to talk about it. I truly believe that yoga can be modified. Physical practice, mental practice can be modified to any level. Hence, that's why I teach from very young year. Like my week starts with teaching preschoolers, and then I continue and I teach some of my students over 60, 70 years old. So it truly is a great practice that can suit everyone.
That sounds
And
amazing.
it does not involve the pretzel poses at all. There is a saying, actually, I forgot whose quote is it, but it says that yoga is not about even touching your toes. It's about what you learn on the way down there.
That sounds
I couldn't say
amazing.
it better.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it, because of all those stigma around yoga, it have always put me at bay, that not wanting to try it, because like someone like me who has very little flexibility and mobility in my joints now, is yoga one of the things that can help them to improve their flexibility and mobility?
Absolutely, Martha. And actually, I personally, I had been blessed to have quite a few teachers that I have been studying from and learning from, and most of my teachers are really passionate, and I share the same passion about extending mobility and flexibility levels. And again, it's not limited to any age. You have, I was a kid as a teenager. I was one of those kids who shot up very fast and not flexible at all. So when I'm teaching now, when I can touch my toes and I do, well, my flexibility had improved since then, thanks to yoga. I always say that, if you are not flexible or if you have limited ability, this is exactly why you should be practicing that, because yoga is low impact on the joints. It's built around bringing the circulation of the blood, of the lymphatic liquid, of all the synovial fluids in the joints. So to bring it all in motion, there is another great quote by a yoga teacher, Judy Flassiter, and she says, motion is lotion. So essentially, the more we move, the more lubrication we're bringing into the joints, the more circulation we're improving, and it can have huge, huge, huge benefits. And especially as we are, as people or women as well, but we come through stages in life where the mobility starts to decrease. So important to continue moving, but moving safely. And yoga is definitely one of the ways. I know I'm biased because I love yoga so much, but it's there is lots of proof that it's one of the best ways to move, to promote the flexibility, to bring it back or even improve. And there is no limit. Of course, we all have different bodies, and certain things we might not be able to do in a particular way as the person next to us, but that's okay. For me, I always I share the belief that in yoga we are trying to make shapes with our body, and we want not just make a shape, we want to feel good in it. So it's about learning so much about your own body and how it feels and how it works. And quite often, even my personal practice, the progress that I see is not what's visual. It's the way I feel in a pose. It's when I start to feel maybe more spaciousness, more openness, or just less discomfort. We never go for the painful sensations. It's always about kind of going beyond the comfort zone. So you make it a bigger comfort zone, if it makes sense. Yes, I hope I explained that.
Yeah, that's really good, because that eased a lot of my mind about, should I go into yoga or not? Because I was thinking, people keep telling me to do yoga to get my flexibility up. Then I was worried that I won't be like able to do all those pretzel motions that people have been showing me about yoga. And then looking at, like, listening to you now, that there's different stages that we can go on to, I think that will be a great benefit to actually know about it. So if I may ask you, as a woman over 40 years old plus, like, we do experience a lot of low back pain, joint pain, and I have a frozen shoulder myself. So what are some of the benefits that we can get from doing some of the yoga activities?
Look, the benefits are really, really endless. So we're talking about, and it's great that you have mentioned frozen shoulders. So this is very actually typical for women. And I worked with several clients with frozen shoulders. So it's very typical that we start to get reduced mobility. We're going through hormonal changes, and it affects so many different levels. So we have mobility, we have aches, back, arthritis. We have the whole, the perimenopausal and menopausal changes, and they all can be So the quality of living can really be improved by yoga. So we're not talking about, I never say that yoga is some kind of panacea against everything. However, it can really improve the quality of living. So right now, actually, I am in the process of putting together a program specifically for women after 40, because I think the COVID has brought on a lot of, it brought forward a lot of the perimenopause symptoms for a lot of women, myself included. And sometimes, you have to go through things in a certain way. To myself, like I find that if I experience it in my body, it makes me even more relating even more towards my clients. And it's, the yoga is, so movement wise, of course, we're talking about improved mobility. Movement is helping us to circulate the lymph, the blood, the liquid in the joints. So very good for quality of living support, say with arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. Then we are looking at the meditation, relaxation aspect of yoga, extremely important for us to deal with stress. And stress plays such a huge, it's such a huge part, especially for women over 40, because it's overall, we're feeling stressed. And then you have hormonal changes already happening, and plus stress adding more of the cortisol. I know there's a lot of talks about how cortisol is really playing a huge part in already reduced amount of hormones that maybe our body is providing. So by those specific practices and movement, we can stimulate the production of our hormones, which would help to, with limit some of the effects of perimenopause or menopause. We are moving, we are, going like motion is lotion, so helping our joints and calming down our nervous system. And who in our age, I think everybody wants to feel a little bit less stressed, and there are very, very different ways to do that. Like one of the breathing exercises are extremely important for us. So we work with our breath all the time in yoga. So we link in the movement with the breath. We teaching ourselves how to breathe fully. So we get our expansion for the lungs. We can also use the breath for massage of the internal organs. So really the benefits of yoga are endless. And as you can see, I'm very passionate about it, and I'm always trying to kind of share different little practices in my classes and with my friends and with my clients.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, we would love to actually see you posting in our group, giving us a little tips here and there about gaining our mobility and flexibility. We look forward to actually seeing that. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to our audience before we wrap up today's session?
If there is one thing that maybe if there is one little practice that I could share with you today, and I became quite a fan of it lately. I don't know if maybe some of the listeners and yourself, maybe you have heard, there is a lot of talk about the vagus nerve. I don't know if you've heard of it, VAGUS. So it's a nerve kind of that wanders around the body, you can say, because it's kind of traveling. And there is a very easy practice to help stimulate it, but at the same time, because it essentially just involves us to start to kind of very gently stroking from your neck down towards the belly. You can do it with your eyes closed or eyes open. You can be seated, you could be standing. But what it does, so it has multiple effects. So it soothes us whenever we feel the touch. The touch is already quite soothing, but it also brings us straight away into our body, because what essentially yoga and mindfulness is to help us focus on one thing at a time. And having that just one movement does just that. And you can also think about what you can think about it in a couple of ways. If you feel a bit stressed, you might think about it as if you are, dusting and getting rid of everything that you can just brush off. Or maybe if you feel you require a little bit of nurturing, that kind of gentle touch can also provide us with that. So this is something that I just want to share. But otherwise, whenever we can slow down and maybe notice your breath, during the day. So without changing anything, just notice the breath. Notice yourself breathing in, notice yourself breathing out. Very, like, I remember attending a talk with one of very esteemed Buddhism teachers. Just he was visiting Mingyu Rinpoche just last year, and I was very happy to be able to see him live. And I remember him saying, "Oh, who would like to practice? Who would like to learn how to meditate on your breath?" And a lot of people, myself included, we raised our hands, even though we're meditation teachers. And then this is what he did. He said, "Notice your breath in, notice your breath out." And then he said, he has a very good sense of humor. He said, "That's it. You're meditating on breath. That's it."
That's good. That's good. That's something that we can all do. Something simple.
Yes, exactly,
quick,
exactly.
And it's good.
And for me, Martha, it's all about making it very simple and very applicable. So I know that as a teacher, maybe I can't maybe teach everybody. And for me, my students are somebody that I want to make it practical and accessible. Somebody like myself, as a in the past, a corporate person or a parent, or well, we all used to be kids and teenagers, just making it really accessible. How can yoga help somebody like yourself, myself, right now, right here, right now? Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your share, Elena. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. And we look forward to seeing your amazing work and maybe later on do a workshop with us, an event with us. That would be amazing because I really wanted to do more for our community. I think it'll be a fun trip going into your studio and then do something together as a group.
Thank you so much, Martha. That sounds amazing. And I'm so glad that I got your maybe slightly changed your attention about yoga towards, or maybe I'll give it a go. So
yeah, definitely. I would probably give it a go. Let's arrange some event together. So thank you once again for being on my show today. Thank you all the listeners and the audience for coming into our space again. Looking forward to see you next week on another episode of Wisdom Wednesday guest speaking interview. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Martha Mock and Super Confident Coaching, superconfidentcoaching.com.